And we are doing a vlog.
A vlog.
A vlog. Normally, this kind of stuff goes just to Patreon, which shameless plug to Patreon. For those of you who are not subscribed, we actually do real vlogs that go to Patreon. We have to do some sort of life update for people.
Yeah.
We are recording. We're about to record episode 37 or 38. I have to actually look. But all of August is done. Mm-hmm. We're into September now, and we're trying to backlog September because we're going out of town in September.
Right.
And I'm going to get into that later in this as well. But I want to just catch everyone up currently so they're not getting caught up on our life a month from now and us be a whole bunch of new shits going on.
Right.
Do you want to talk about Tampa at all?
Like matrix hormones?
Any of it. Just anything that's happened over the last few days. What do you want to touch on? Because once I start talking, we know me. It's going to be like motor mouth. I'm going to have diarrhea of the mouth.
You can just go.
Okay. First and foremost, I'm tired. Babe, I'm tired.
I'm really tired too.
This week has kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Thursday we drove to
Tampa
to the Matrix Hormones office to have a meeting with people who work at Matrix, but not a Matrix Hormones meeting. There was some Matrix Hormones stuff involved, but it was not for Matrix Hormones. They allowed us to use their conference room to have conversations. Peaches has the idea of becoming the female spokesperson for Matrix, and that's something that she's become passionate about, and she wants to have the discussions about that. So you talk about that first and how much you want to give, because I don't want to speak out of the side of my neck if you don't want it going to YouTube.
Are you talking like getting into talking about my hormones and shit? Or
anything. I put a little bit of this in my personal vlog today because we've been very open with Patreon, but like Patreon is private and YouTube is not.
Okay.
So
yeah, that is something that I am very much wanting to advocate for, and if Matrix is okay with me being the face of that for them, that would be dope. We both have just gotten our blood work done. Your blood work has come back pretty much fantastic for you.
I mean, kinda. It did come down.
Yeah. I mean, your last one was a good one.
It did. He was excited that it came down.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work to be done. My hemocrit's still through the roof. But I am back on my hormones, and I want to get into that in episode 37, so I'll save that.
Okay.
Because there's a whole lot of discussion on both of our parts that need to happen there.
Right.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I mean, I'm glad you did it clarified. My hormones are a fucking mess. And like you said, we're going to go more in depth in that in the podcast episodes. If you want to hear about that, tune into there. I learned a lot. And in recognizing how complex I am as a female with my hormones, like, get your hormones checked.
Yeah.
Get them checked. My stress levels are through the roof, and it shows up in my blood work.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that that's something that could be taken care of, just my hormones being imbalanced is going to alleviate some stress in my life. Are you kidding me? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah. You told me in the car that you want to start advocating for this because it's you know things now that you would have never known before.
Yeah, I learned a lot in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. So in the event that pans out for you, we will eventually be in some fashion working with Matrix to make that a thing. We had hours of meetings. We are in the process of creating 2 more podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
One with Brandon and Kayla, who has been on our podcast before, doing a non-Matrix hormones related thing, just the 4 of us creating a new venture. We are also working on doing something with the people who own Matrix that is not a Matrix Hormones podcast. It will be them behind the scenes and some of their specialists, but we are going to be able to do some sort of health podcast, and that's going to be the intro to you becoming that face for them in terms of women's health.
Yeah.
There's a lot that's going into that. We are moving the, I almost said sacred rights. The To Be Better headquarters is going to be leaving our house.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to pull all of this shit minus this room completely out of our home and put it into a physical studio. I am waiting on the woman to send me the lease. We found a unit. We went through it. We looked at things. We actually vlogged some of that yesterday. We are going to set up multiple stations there and try to make To Be Better the brand more than just what it currently is.
Yeah.
We want to get to the point where we're flying guests in and being able to truly interview people and have a location that's not our fucking house and like really step this thing up. We are almost to 125 on YouTube. We hit 124 this morning. 124,000 subscribers. So we are definitely en route to that. We are looking into moving into more merchandise, and that's just one small facet of things that's currently going on, which explains the we're tired thing because it's been nonstop.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I mean, I've done that, and I did the Triumph.
You did the Triumph thing today. Yes, you did. The other things that I wanted to get into in this vlog is that I want you guys to know that we do have employees to an extent now. We've had email screeners for a while and like they've been filtering things, but we have really tightened down what the email process looks like. We are not going to read, and this hasn't changed, any emails with DV, SA, or child abuse. It's just not going to happen. We're not. If you have that in your life, you can say, I was SA'd, I was DV'd, or I was a victim of child abuse, and we don't need any of the details at all. Stop. That's it. Beyond that, we have now added a new layer of protection for our mental health, where we are not reading trauma dumping emails. If your email is being sent in to simply complain about your life and complain about your partner and tell us how bad you have it and how bad they have it and pity me, pity me, pity me, we're not reading that. We're not your therapist. We're not getting paid to take on that burden of your problems to do that. We want to help you with your relationship. If you have not worked through your past trauma and like started being a better person and you're living that in your current relationship, that is a you problem. If you're having a breakdown of communication, if you're having real problems and things that are happening in this current relationship that are things that you like don't understand or things that you just want advice on, I don't need to know that you were, had your face broken by your ex-husband and hear 35 minutes of how horrible all of that is and how bad your life is and how it's your partner's fault and all of this shit just for you to try to throw blame on everyone and not take accountability for your current situation. We get a lot of that shit. Episode 30.5 was the breaking point for us.
Yeah.
Our email, the way that we are recording podcasts have changed. If you are not taking accountability and you are not already making strides to make your relationship better, we're probably not going to read your email. We're also not taking emails for Patreon and expediting them anymore. That stopped a while ago, but people still think that's a thing, so I'm clarifying that now. If you joined Patreon just to have your email expedited, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
We have a whole lot of other things going on with Patreon and the Discord and the community that we've built there that like we are we're giving value beyond just reading emails. The last thing that I want to talk about in terms of emails is that we were doing expedited email reads that were $50 and we were reading them on live streams. We were putting the people who wrote the emails into a Discord chat so they could hear us in real time with no lag. And we could ask questions, wait for them to answer. And we were basically doing a faux type of coaching call because we could read the email and then ask the questions that we had and get real time updates so that we knew how to address situations. I feel like that was the most beneficial way to do this, but I also realized that we were still getting trauma dumping and bullshit. So we have to tighten that down. So we put that on pause, but that is coming back once the studio is built. We just have to figure that out. We have new content coming on Sunday nights. We have changed the format for Sundays. It's now going to be a mixture of like news or
just happenings,
pop cultures, things that are happening in the world. I guess that falls under the news category, but it's not news like politics and shit.
Right.
But we are going to have discussions on that, and there will be some reaction videos, and there will be things that you and I want to talk about. And eventually, fingers crossed, in the next month, we will have a studio that has somebody live in the studio with their own camera, and we have the function set up so that we can do what we need to do to make that work and it be not crappy audio or crappy video from somewhere else. And like, that's the goal. So Sunday nights are going to have a whole new thing. I have mentioned the Patreon a couple times in here. I have mentioned our vlogs in here, and I have talked about things that we have moving forward. The only other thing that I do want to talk about is our Patreon content has shifted. So for those of you who were at one point in Patreon that left or for financial reasons or just didn't get value or didn't like what we were doing or whatever, we are uploading content 4 or 5 times a week now, even if it's just vlogs, to show a window into our life. Sometimes the vlogs are 15 minutes, sometimes they're 50 minutes. It really just depends on what's going on, but there is a much broader thing there. It's not just emails. I think that for those of you who were in Patreon that left, you should probably join again and just see if the content has changed. Discord is still thriving. It's really grown. We've built a big community over there. The men's group and women's groups that we had going are still there, but not going the way that they were because we kind of put a kibosh to that. I ended up continuing the men's group even though I didn't want to, and I don't know where that's going to go. But we have a lot going on in that aspect. It is $15 a month to get access to the Discord. And when you break that down to 50 cents a day, the content and the community that we are providing makes it all worthwhile. I can think of much dumber things to spend your money on that's not going to provide you the value that the Discord channel does. Starbucks.
Domino's.
Yeah. 2 Starbucks drinks would pay your entire Discord for the month.
McDonald's.
Or Patreon. Yep. So that's 12 minutes of update. Guys, this entire thing for me was that I didn't want you guys to get a lot of this information a month from now and then it be
everything's already happened.
Right. And changed and evolved, or you be sending emails and waiting. We are still behind drastically on emails.
Yes.
And because we are so backed up on emails, we get to be picky. And we're going to be. So be cautious. Reread your emails. Proofread that shit. If you send a junky email, it's going to get rejected. Do we want to talk about Vegas at all? Should we save that?
Save it.
Okay. All right, guys. With that being said, we will see you on the next one.
See ya.